But we begin with senior national correspondent John Roberts in Florence, South Carolina, where Republicans are finding it increasingly tough to stay positive 9 days before that primary. Good evening, John.
Brett, good evening to you. At the John Kasich event here in Florence, big news for Kasich today. Ken Langone, the Home Depot co-founder and a big backer of Chris Christie, has now come over to his side. Kasich tonight continuing to push the positive message that catapulted him into second place in New Hampshire, but vowing he won't turn the other cheek if he gets hit here in South Carolina. Meantime, across the Palmetto State, the fight is on.
In Florence today, birthday wishes for Jeb Bush at the Venus restaurant. But despite deep admiration for the Bush family here, some folks are looking to Donald Trump as the candidate to shake things up.
We see a guy that is talking about China and talking about how other countries rip us off. And we're tired of it. We need you to start talking about that.
It was a great exchange, and it was an interesting insight, and I learned from it, and I think I got him.
Bush will be joined on the trail by his brother, the former president, next week. Something a much more aggressive Marco Rubio has top of mind. He managed to both praise and pummel the Bush family in one sentence today.
I'm an incredible admirer of him and of his family. I thank God that George W. Bush was president of the United States instead of Al Gore on September 11, 2001. But Governor Bush has no foreign policy experience.
Ted Cruz had no daytime events today, but his campaign was hard at work on the ad front, smacking Rubio on immigration in this parody of a self-help group.
You guys have room for one more?
And debuting the new Trump action figure.
What does he do? He pretends to be a Republican.
But Cruz himself was a target today of Iowa's ethanol lobby. They're still there, with an ad the Cruz campaign said is, quote, highly inaccurate.
Cruz proposed mass legalization of illegal immigrants.
Donald Trump was also absent from South Carolina today, campaigning in Louisiana. Last night he drew several thousand people in one of the most conservative corners of the state. Trump made it through the entire rally without swearing and told our Greta Van Susteren we'll likely hear a lot less of that in the future.
We're too politically correct. Now, with that being said, as I get closer and closer to the goal, it's going to get different. Once you get to a certain level, it changes. I will be changing very rapidly. I'm very capable of changing to anything I want to change to.
The statement raised questions as to whether the Trump we see on the stump is the real deal and how he and his positions might change should he win the nomination or the Oval Office.
In a state famous for its bare-knuckle politics, we're already picking up some evidence of dirty tricks. Brett, I talked to a couple of voters today who said that they've received some fairly aggressive push polls, mostly aimed at Marco Rubio and Donald Trump. And while they were aggressive, nothing like we saw in 2000 when push polling really reached a low water mark. Brett?
John Roberts in South Carolina with his best Peter Costas on the golf course. John, thanks.